Mr. Ernie, can you briefly introduce yourself in terms of what you do and the companies you own now?
I do a lot of things over the years, right? But what I really am interested and focused on doing right now is actually just education and training. More so I'm interested in helping people make a difference with their own lives. And of course, I believe the most effective, powerful way for people to transform, change their life, or make a difference in their own life is via education and training. If you look into education training, people always seems to see it as from a perspective of you need to go through the formal education from your kindergarten to your preschool, to your primary school, secondary school, then your college, university. What I believe is that education is more about lifelong learning. It's more about education and training, that you need formal and informal education. Why? Because when we talk about education, we talk about training, we're not talking about formal education, we're talking about the things that you learn in life, whether you're in class or whether you're out of class, whether you're at job place, whether you're at the gym, whether you are at a workplace, it doesn't matter, you're always learning. So I believe in order for us to make a difference in our lives, we should be using education and training to make sure that we understand if we want to grow, we need to continuously be learning. So that's why it's continuous learning. Okay. So what I do today is I focus very much on making a difference in making lives better. That's what I really do today.
All right, great. Yeah, that ties in with the theme of the book, which is called Turning Point. Yeah, which is I think everyone have a turning point, which you have the low side, and then that's the point that you go up there. So, and I'm very impressed that Miss Peggy told me that you have actually another side, which is like the academic side, which are for younger kids who are not doing academically well in school.
Sure.
And then they have a chance to learn. Like, yeah, I totally agree with this, because I'm sure you would have agreed, would have seen this. Not everyone is born to be, study the academic way. Yeah. If they are not academically good, doesn't mean that they are useless. They have other skills. So yeah, that would be turning points for these young kids.
Sure.
As well. Yeah.
I think it's very important to note that why am I interested to do what I'm doing is because my personal story of myself, I came through the Malaysian education, myself being Malaysian. We are put into either you go to the science stream or you go to the art stream. I mean, a defining point, a turning point, right?
Yeah.
When I've never been really good in my academic studies myself. And I think the defining point always is if you go to the science stream, you are usually the better students.
Yeah,
if you go to the art stream,
that's a stereotype.
Yeah, you're not so good as an academic student.
Exactly.
I made it to the science stream with borderline grades. But going to the science stream with borderline grades, I chose to be in the art stream. So does that mean that I chose to be stupid? Did I choose to be stupid even though I was borderline smart according to the system? So I went to the art stream and I didn't do as well in my Form 5 high school diploma, my SPM. I got average grade. I didn't get a single A, not a single A. And I was not welcome to the public universities. I was not welcome in the Malaysian education system. So in the system, and families and relatives and everyone else, I was a failure. Because if you don't score a lot of A's and get scholarships, or you don't get into public university, you are a failure. Yeah. So I was a failure in the eyes of the Malaysian Malaysian system.
Yeah.
So what I did was, I was okay enough to get into my Form 6. So I did my STPM with no A's, but I got enough points to get into Form 6,
okay,
which I then failed and flunked out with my Form 6 after 1.5 years. Now, however, throughout my whole entire education, I've always been a sportsman. I've always enjoyed sports. I represented my schools in various sports. I represented the state in various sports and the national team in table tennis as well. So I've always been a sports person where I learned a lot about leadership, competitiveness, working with people. I think that's the other side of me that has given me the idea that if you work hard, train hard, if you believe in achieving more, you can actually go further. So when I left Malaysia, I had to leave Malaysia. I used my Form 5 grade and I got into the American education system. And when I got to the American education system, everything changed, where they were not evaluating me based on what I studied to write on a piece of paper. They were evaluating me based on what I was able to produce with my ability to do things I never thought I could. And because I chose the subjects, the modules that I was interested in. For example, in my 100 level classes my freshman year, I was doing classes like Introduction to Theatre. I was doing Introduction to Art Appreciation, Introduction to Philosophy, to Astrology. I was introduced to things I never imagined possible. And when I was introduced, I started to develop a lot of interest that I was very good at. And that's how I started to develop my ability, focusing on what I was good at. And I believe that every one of us here are good in something. And that's where we really need to enhance, work on building up the weaknesses, but really focus and enhance and magnify our strengths. And that's exactly what I started doing when I came back to Malaysia. I came back to contribute where I believe that just like myself, to the system, to the Malaysians, to the family relatives, I was a failed person. I started looking at a lot of Malaysian students who were very much similar like myself. They were sampah masyarakat or rubbish to the Malaysian education system just because they were failing their academic. Because we were put in a system where you expected an elephant to climb a tree.
That's right.
You expected a fish to climb the tree. And you make this compete with a monkey who is naturally built to climb the tree.
Exactly.
So it's
not everyone is tailored out to learn in the same way.
So it's a failed education training system for till today. I still feel it's a failed system.
I have to agree with that.
So I believe in providing. So 6 years ago, I bought this licensed college, which was a dying college with no students, nothing. I believe in producing champions from people who are most likely, in people's eyes, failing. The outcasts, the people that never imagined possible to succeed. And what I've done over the last 6 years is I provided a platform for those who desire to succeed, not necessarily academically, but because of their ability and desire of wanting to succeed by working hard, learning what is needed of them to succeed. So that's what I've been focusing on.
I have to agree with that and admire your decision for doing that, because I totally agree with your point of view of the Malaysian education system, and also the mindset of the Malaysian society.
You don't score A's, then you are a failed individual. So I did score a single A in my form 5, by the way. So I told people A's don't pay your bills,
That's right.
Results pay your bills.
If you go to art class, you are a loser. If you are interested, to learn hairdressing, you are definitely a BTC or whatever. Something like that.
If you cook, you're just a person working in the kitchen. I mean, we have famous like Gordon Ramsay. You have Oliver, you have Jamie Oliver. You have all these big name chefs.
That's right.
So we must always look at, in Chinese they call Hong Hong Chu Zhong, meaning to say that if you are able to do so well in whatever profession, you will be able to succeed. So to me, it's as long as you have the desire, you're willing to work hard, you're willing to put in the effort to learn smarter ways of doing it, and you have the right flow, the right fit for that thing, you will really succeed. So that's what I believe in, and that's what I encourage my students and people that I encounter, that you can be as good as you want if you're willing to sacrifice and go into that field. Even the cleaners, you can be the best cleaner and then start learning how to clean better and start a team to teach them how to clean better, build a big business out of a cleaning business. It's as simple as that. So if you want to drive, you can drive very well. You can teach people how to drive and start up a whole entire transportation business. Everything.
Exactly.
So it's whether you want or you don't want.
Talking about the cleaning, just a quick example. I saw in a documentary online, it's a Chinese one, but they talk about people in Japan, and then there's a cleaner that won a cleaner of the year in a Japanese airport, I think, a major Japanese airport, and then she become instantly famous, and then all these TV show come and interview her, and then people learn cleaning skills from her because there's certain technique, on how to clean even the floor, you see. That's a very good example on that. So, okay, what was your experience like studying in US, in general?
I think it was very suitable for me. So I always find that working hard is important. I always believe in this quote that if you think you work hard, you work harder. If you think you work hard, you just have to work harder, right? And then over the years, I learned that working hard alone is not enough, because I really work very, very hard. I work 7 days a week. 365 days. I'm constantly working, not necessarily physically working, but always constantly thinking of how to improve and make things better. And constantly learning how to do things smarter and better, and so that it will reduce the amount of effort to produce more. Doing less and achieving more. Doing less means to say I'm not wanting to work less, but actually figuring how to do things better, more effectively, more efficiently. It's not just telling my people or doing things like I've just done it. No, I want to do it where the returns is going to be greater, and that's called optimize the whole entire system. Not just maximize, but optimize to the point of working so hard, but making sure whatever effort I put in, it optimizes the result that comes back. That's called working smarter.
Right.
And ultimately, my education in America was very fitting to me. What do I mean by fitting? Because in life, you may be capable, but you may not be suitable. So a lot of individuals don't excel and reach their ultimate potential because they work hard, they work smart, but they are not the right fit. So the American education system, the American culture is very suitable to my personality and the way I function. So to answer to the question, what was my education experience like? I think it was very open. It was very transparent. It was very inspiring. It was a system that believed that as long as you want, as long as you're willing to work hard and work smart and it fits you, go ahead. It never tells you that you are not good enough to do this. It tells you that for as long as you're willing and you don't quit, you can achieve it. So that system is an amazing system. It's very unlike the Malaysian education system or the Malaysian system where you need to be like this in order for you to do this. So if you don't have the fundamentals of, let's say, the ability to be having biology or chemistry, you are not allowed to become a medical doctor. You cannot pursue and study medical doctor profession. In America, it doesn't matter what foundation you have, but as long as you have the desire to go through the process and continuously work towards it, there is a possibility. So that is the American education system or the American culture. It inspires you to dream big, do big, and achieve big. That's what it does.
So that's why we can see famous people like that. Previously, they have different life, but after they found what they love, and then they achieve that, totally become different.
In America, I mean, you get a lot of very successful artists, actors. You know, like Samuel L. Jackson, a very famous actor. He didn't become big until in his 40s. He struggled for his whole entire life. There are a lot of struggling artists in America that people always think, oh, this guy just got lucky and became this big name. They forgot that they were waitering on tables, cleaning hotel rooms. A lot of people always see our successes. They don't see what we have to go through to get to that success. Sometimes people say, wow, that guy just did that one time and pump, became a very huge success. You forgot about the 20 over years of suffer, and that 20 over years of suffer got me that one day of that hit. So don't forget about the hard work that is required and the smart work and the pain and the suffering that leads you to more fulfillment in life.
That's right. All right. These are my next questions. When you return to Malaysia, so what give you the idea that you have to become an entrepreneur instead of like most people like get a job and go through the routine?
Sure. I think that I never even know or understood what is this word called entrepreneur when I came back to Malaysia. I always thought the word was called becoming a businessman. So I don't even know this word called entrepreneur, right? And I never thought of myself being an entrepreneur. I always just thought of I wanted to do things better. I wanted to do things differently. I wanted to do things that most people say is impossible.
Right.
That's the kind of mentality I had. So I never really understood the word entrepreneur or entrepreneurship. So when you ask me what makes me think that I want to become an entrepreneur, I don't think it was more of I want to become an entrepreneur. I think it was more of I wanted to do things better. I wanted to do things that were impossible. And that led me to work in 12 different companies over my, more than 12. It was 24 different companies over the lifetime. And every single job, I always somehow annoy my bosses because I always seem to want to do things faster, better, quicker. And my bosses always tell me that you're making us look bad. You're making us work harder. Can you chill a little bit? And one of my last bosses told me that, Ernie, you know what? You think you're so good, right? You think you can really do all these things better, faster, and quicker. why don't you just go and start your own business? So that was what happened.
Okay.
And when that happened, I was like, yeah, why don't I just come and start my own business? And that's when I started to learn what is the meaning of entrepreneurship.
All right.
And even though I was very successful at a very young age, because I'm a top performer in all the organizations I work with, I always exceed expectations.
Okay.
I never thought of training myself to become an entrepreneur, but because of the way I behave, I came out and I started as a struggling entrepreneur too. And I got cheated in my first venture into entrepreneurship, believing that people were honest, believing that partnerships were meant to be. So I learned the tough lessons of being an entrepreneur by being cheated, being lied to by very close bros, you know, that were supposed to be good friends. So I learned, and you learn those entrepreneurial lessons, and you start businesses. And I started doing anything and everything, you know, like the Midas touch. Whatever I touched, it became successful. But before I touched whatever became successful, I had non-stop, continuously failures, and I failed so much to the point where I think entrepreneurs have this ability where you are okay with failing.
Yeah.
Because my whole entire life is failing. I've always failed in all my exams or my studies, and used to people calling me a failure, and used to be very big. So I used to have a lot of girls that I always liked, and I always failed in those relationships, get rejected by girls, and so failure and rejection is kind of like used to it. You get used to it. I was in the theater scene. I went for a lot of casting for theater shows, film shows, advertisements, films. So you get rejected all the time. I think that's part of the process of learning how to become a better entrepreneur, which is being okay to be rejected and being okay to fail. So that's how I learned what entrepreneurship is about. And getting better at it.
That's good. I mean, back to the point that about rejection. I think, especially in the Malaysian society and the system, they look at mistakes or rejection as a failure, which is actually just a learning. process.
Well, it's very hard to have the paradigm shift. Most people cannot see that. Why? Because if your whole entire life growing up that your parents want you to score A's, you must pass this, must do that. So it's very hard for most human beings to feel that failure is okay. That you must pass in everything, and that's actually a wrong misconception of what life is about. We don't plan to fail in life. We don't plan to fail in exams. But failures do happen. Shit happens, you know. And we don't plan for it, but it does happen, because why? We are dealing with humans. We're dealing with an environment where we are not in control of the situation. There are things that happens that is not just within our control. Every single day, shit happens, and you have to just deal with it and overcome those failures and rejections. If you're able to do that, you become a better entrepreneur, become more successful, and you start to slowly change your paradigm and of what it's meant to be.
Okay, great. So can you just name what are your top 3 strengths and weaknesses?
I think my top 3 strengths is, number 1, I would say, is the belief system. The BELIEF. My belief system is very, very strong. It's very strong to the point that anything I put my mind to, I will do it. I don't care how painful it is, I will do it, right? And it goes from my personal life, or even as fundamental as myself working out, losing weight, and doing business. And it takes a lot of physical pain to work out the way I work out, to lose the kind of weight I lose. It takes a lot of pain from building businesses from scratch again and again and again. The belief system is so strong that anytime I set my mind to achieve something, I may not achieve it at the time that it's been set, but I will definitely achieve it.
Okay.
That's the belief system. The belief system is one of my biggest strengths.
So that has been in your record?
It's been my record my whole entire life.
Right.
I may not achieve the desired result at the timeline,
but it will get there.
But I will always get there.
Okay, good.
And that is the belief system that I've always believed in. And I think that it continuously becomes stronger because of the results that I see. So the second point to support the first point, belief system, my second biggest strength is I'm an extremely results-driven person. Because I don't just believe, I take massive actions to see results come true. Because the results is what builds my biggest strength, which is my belief system. So I'm a highly, extremely action-oriented person. I take massive actions in everything that I do. I cannot sit down and oh, I want to lose weight. Okay, lah, I will lose weight. I will take my time. No, I don't do that. I just go at it and go at it and go at it. So, like tomorrow, I got a big review on my weight of the process that I've done in the last 50 days. And so, in the last couple of days, I don't just cut carbs, cut sugar. I cut carbs and I cut water. And today I'm on a pure liquid diet. I'm not eating at all for the next 24 hours to cut whatever I can cut. Whether I achieve or not is besides the point. But that's the kind of commitment to the actions that I will take to support the results that will then build on the belief system.
Even though it's just on your personal agenda.
Yeah, even the personal agenda is like people don't, because I really achieve, people see the kind of results, it's crazy one. But I just am the kind of person where my belief system says do, I just do. I don't care what pain or what sacrifices, I just do. And then the actions that I take is extraordinary. So my second biggest strength is my the actions that I take. I'm an extremely results-driven person, right? And the third biggest strength is I'm a sucker for loving human beings, right? Why? Because I naturally just love humans, right? Meaning to say that I've been burned by a lot of human beings over the years of doing business in my life. No matter how much pain because relationships is about either having pain or they become more fulfilling. So over the years of doing business or having relationships with different individuals, I've gotten into a lot of very painful relationships or staff. They say one thing, they do another thing, they backstab you, they change. Humans change all the time. And at some point in my life, I've always said, I'm never going to get screwed again, or I'm never going to love humans again because I don't want to get hurt again. But I always still somehow go back into loving humans because I am naturally a sucker for loving humans. I enjoy people. I enjoy seeing people succeed. I enjoy seeing people do better in their life. So my third biggest strength, I would say, is I love to see people succeed because it gives me joy. So in everything that I do today, I don't care what they put me through lah. As long as you succeed, it's okay lah. I'm happy for you, So that's generous. So that's kind of the strength that I have, which I like to see their lives changing to become better. Never thought of it as a strength, but the more I think about it, the more I feel that that's why I do what I do today.
Okay, great.
The three weaknesses, I think I always teach my people and my students, my staff, and everyone else. Your biggest strengths are also your biggest weaknesses. Right? It's how you actually balance that. So my biggest strengths are always my biggest weakness. Why?
Very agree on this.
So my belief system is so strong to the point where I set my mind to do something. I sometimes do hurt myself physically, emotionally, in every way.
Too much stress.
Too much of that, right? Go off. And too much action, because I do so much of the thing, I neglect on other areas of my life that I should be balancing out a little bit. I'm a very extreme person. And thirdly, because I love human in general so much to the point where sometimes I forget about my personal self. And it hurts me. So my biggest strengths are my biggest weaknesses.
And usually they are like that.
So that's how I will say my strengths and weaknesses.
Okay. All right. Can you just name what are your turning points in your life that are important to you?
I think defining turning points up to date, I would say three major turning points. I think the first major turning point would be leaving Malaysia. Leaving Malaysia for the first time for my education in America. I was 18-ish to 19. After my Form 6, I failed my Form 6 STPM. I didn't even get my CGL because I just didn't do well. So I left America with 3 big bags. I was this way overweight Asian Malaysian boy leaving Malaysia, Subang Airport. My family was there, my friends were there, and I was crying. And you leave 18, 19 years of your life building for Malaysia. Never really left my family for a long duration, and I left for America. So not knowing where the hell I was going or what to expect. Never been there.
Sorry to interrupt. How long were you there?
I was there about 8 years.
8 years.
I did my studies. About 8 years. I was doing my degree, my master's degree. I worked, I traveled, and didn't know what to expect. within that duration period. So I think that was a huge turning point where I had to fend for myself, and I had to be as creative as I could to have those creative surviving skills. Because you don't work, you don't do, you don't eat, you don't live. So that was very much on a very extreme learning turning point on how I became more who I am today.
So your background is not like those the luxury kids, like
my dad was a government servant. Works for the government. So government servants, you don't make much money. My mom was a direct marketing salesperson. She used to had parties where I never understood why she had parties. I was very young, and she had all these aunties coming, and she always had parties every single week. I was like, dude, does my mom not work? Why always like that? But what she was actually doing, she was actually selling like those Corningware. She was doing all those direct marketing, direct sales, where they had parties. All these women came about, and my mom was a very gung-ho salesperson. And without my dad always said, without my mom, there was no way his salary could have supported the family, three of us young kids, to be studying and be able to be where we are today also. So no, we didn't come from rich, luxurious family. We came from a very, very fundamentally basic, we celebrate once a year birthday where we eat KFC once a year. For your birthday, and you had a dinner plate where your brother had one of the chicken pieces, you had another one, and you had another one. So it was a dinner plate with soft drink. You share one soft drink, 3 glasses of ice. So you share, and each one had 1 glass of ice. These are very, very clear memories of how we shared things. 1 bowl of noodles, 3 bowls, and you share 1 bowl of noodles with 3 of us. So in everything that we had was always shared, and I always had my brother's clothes, hand-me-downs. It was not a good luxurious life in any way possible. We were poor.
But that sort of life builds character.
Yeah, it builds a lot of character. So my whole entire life, I never knew those were turning points or what. It was just the life we had. It was what life was. So you didn't know what you were missing out because that's what we grew up with. We grew up eating rice with soy sauce with fried egg. You don't think about you not having luxury, because to us that was what life was.
It's only like now when you look back and do the comparison, and you start to reflect.
So today, when I eat at a mama store, it doesn't matter. I can eat a very expensive meal, I can eat a very cheap meal. It's still cool with me, I think if you don't have those upbringing years and those suffering years of the turning point from 18, 19, leaving for America, I don't think we would realize that it's okay to lose it all and then build it back all again, because I never had anything in the first place. I had nothing to lose to start off with. I have everything to gain from where I am moving forward. So that was I would say, the first turning point, leaving for America, that really gave me a different outlook into life. I think the second turning point was becoming an entrepreneur, coming out to become a business person, where when you're a high flyer in corporate environment, you meet a lot of Datuk Tan Sris, and you are this big kahuna, and everybody wanted to do business with me because I had a lot of power at a very young age to give projects, to build big projects. So I had a lot of big names who were my friends, and they will all tell you, I go become a businessman, we will support you. And the moment you came out, whoever are supposedly your friends who are there to support you, all of a sudden decide that they are no longer your friends. Because when you used to be able to support people, people will become good friends with you. But when you come out, you need support, or you know who are your real friends, right? So those were the times when I started to realize that when it comes to real friends, are those who are willing to go through hardship with you and to go through the pains of really building something out of nothing. And I have a couple of those good friends with me who are still my business partners to today, who have gone through a lot of hell with me. I don't call them brothers, but because brothers are those who say they are your brothers and then they screw you over.
Most of the time.
Those who really are not really your brothers, but they really are there through the thick and the thin, the good and the bad times. And the whole entrepreneur journey, I would say, will be a second turning point of when I became an entrepreneur. I started my first business, where we really had nothing. I started my business from my 2nd bedroom apartment and literally built from nothing. Right? It's a 2 ringgit company to start off with. You probably visited my offices and the college right now. Most people don't understand my whole entire first office is half the size of my current office. The whole office is actually half the size.
Is that back in 2003?
Yeah, 2003, correct.
Yeah, I saw it in your website.
Yeah, so it's half the size of this office.
What was that business about?
We started as a production, production, because I studied filmmaking production.
Oh, okay.
But called Dream Talents Media, which is still in existence today. But it has evolved to become something else. So, but it didn't generate as much as I wanted. I'm a very good speaker and trainer. So we ventured into Adson, which we started our corporate training business, and that kind of skyrocketed and did very well.
Right.
So with that business, I wanted to become like the Anthony Robbins of Malaysia, and that's when it became the core business, and then started building other businesses.
All right.
So that would be the second turning point. And I think the third and final turning point that really made me realize how important my personal life, because I was getting very unhealthy building businesses, both mentally, physically, and emotionally very unhealthy. And the last turning point I would say was the death of my mom. My mom passed away about 4 years plus ago, when I was probably at the peak of my career. I was Malaysia's top 40 under 40. I was 39 years old, and I was one of the Malaysia's top 40 under 40, and I won this award where everything I touched became gold. I was probably at the peak of my wealth, peak of my career, peak of my network. I think you walk around, you see I'm in the media every single week, from radio, TV. I had my name, my picture everywhere, in every newspaper, Chinese, English, Malay, Indian. I was in every single news.
Right.
I was I was so successful, all right? And things changed overnight just like that, where my mom had cancer. 20 years ago, she already had, and then it came back. I was taking care of my mom for 6 months.
May I ask how old?
She's 71. When she passed away, 71. Right. So 20 years ago, before that, she had the cancer, but she went through radiotherapy. It was supposed to be gone.
All right.
So it came back 20 years later. It was not expected.
Okay.
And I took her to the doctor to do the diagnosis, and it was confirmed that it actually came back to the nose. So I took her to every single oncologist I could possibly think about. It was a big fight in the family because everyone has their own opinion. What is best for my mom? I did everything I could. Even my friend, one of my good friends from school, which is an oncologist, and we even went for a cyber knife, and it didn't work. You know, before this, Ernie Chen is like God. Whatever I touched, she became gold and became so successful. And I always tell people, no, God is a very funny comedian. He has funny ways to teach you, where you think you are God yourself, and you think whatever you do, it succeeds. Finally, for the first time, Ernie Chen didn't have a solution. I was not able to save my mother, right? Which I thought I could. If I could have the money, or I could have the wealth, I could have the solution. I meet the people, introduce, and I could. And even after the cyber knife, when the doctor told me that took some time, he told me that during the last meeting with mom, she's cured, she's okay. Wow, it was like a sign of relief, it was actually cured relief. 1 week later, my mom started complaining back bone pain again, so went to the doctors again. I had spread, so it was terminal already.
Okay.
Within 3 months after that, my mom was gone. So I think that was a very dramatic turning point. And then I had, at that age, I had a cataract. So you don't hear of cataract of a 40-year-old man, usually it's about 60-something. My dad just had his cataract, 60-something, and I had cataract. It was a very shocking moment to have all this thing at such a young age. And where did it come from? It comes from years of unhealthy eating, sugar, the pressure. Because you're so positive, your belief system is so strong that you never thought you were hurting yourself. You always thought you were able, so I don't sleep much. And I had sleep apnea. I was diagnosed with sleep apnea, where I almost died don't know how many times. So for the last 5 years, I was sleeping with a machine, a APAP. So without the APAP machine, I would have died, because I wake up about 12 to 15 times every single night without me realizing. And I will be like snoring very loud, and I will be like gasping for air. Because I can't breathe. My back.
But you wouldn't realize this.
You don't know. So
when you woke up during the night, do you realize that?
No, I thought I was going to toilet, because every time you wake up, you go to the toilet. So you thought you were needing to go to the toilet.
Okay.
So because I don't sleep well, I probably sleep about 2 hours a night, and I thought I needed to go to the toilet.
So that's the reason that you thought you
wake up.
You wake up is because you need to go to the toilet.
Correct.
But actually, that's not.
Actually, that's not the reason. Until I went and met with the ENT, the specialist, and he diagnosed me with sleep apnea.
So just out of curiosity, I mean, like how you say you only sleep 2 hours per night.
Because I did the sleep test. The diagnosis.
The real sleep was only 2 hours.
Means the total amount of sleep added together is about 2 hours per night.
But when did you start going to bed and what time you wake up usually?
I would sleep probably at about 1-2 o'clock in the morning. And because of my entertainment business and things like that, and sometimes I don't sleep. And I work so much that I was using my belief system, my positivity
to overcome
all this tiredness and So the next day I could be sitting in the meeting, and all of a sudden in the meeting I could just doze off and fall asleep.
Okay.
Without me realizing, I could be driving.
Well, that's
and I would just knock out and sleep. So these are all symptoms of sleep apnea.
Okay.
And for 5 years I didn't realize that. So I could have died within that 5-year period. Doctor said, "Well, you didn't die. You should have died. You could have a heart attack or a brain damage or a lot of things lah."
Because of not enough sleep.
Because of not enough sleep. So the total amount of sleep was about 2 hours in totality in the night. In a day lah.
In a day. Yeah. But maybe you spend like what 5-6 hours in the day.
I think probably even less than that.
Less than that,
Yeah. So it was so unhealthy.
For the last 5 years, you survived like that.
Yeah. So then I was diagnosed.
Okay.
And then I was sleeping with the machine. I was supposed to have an operation. I said, "I'm not gonna do the surgery. Is there any other alternative?" So he proposed a APAP, which is blowing air into my system, so I could breathe. So I slept with the machine for about 5 years, and now I don't sleep with the machine anymore. This end of last year, beginning this year, I started to remove the machine because I lost all this weight, and for the first time, I didn't have to sleep with the machine anymore.
Okay.
So the whole entire life transformation when my mother passed away, when I had a cataract, I had this sleep aid. I mean, it was a really, really big wake-up call. You want to call it a turning point?
Yeah.
Turn my point where my life, where I started restructuring my businesses. Of course, the businesses started to fail because I was not interested.
So that's why we see such a major transformation in your health.
Yeah.
Right? Because of all these things that happen throughout.
It's not just that, because my mom, you used to be so wealthy, so rich, and so much of everything, but you can't save your mother. Yeah. And you can have all the wealth and all the success and people recognition of how successful you are, but then you are like about to die. You think, well, I want to become James Lee, die at a young age, and people talk about you for the rest of your life, but you're no longer around.
Yeah.
I don't know, Michael Jackson, 15 more years old, you die, and the whole world talk about you and your legend and things like that, but I think there's more to life than to just
wealth and achievement,
recognition, success, and achievement and things. I think there's a lot more deep meaning to life where people, people say you only live once, and go all out and crazily do things. Yes, you do live only, you only live one night, the YOLO thing. But I also learned that you live every single day, but you die once, right? So before you die that one time, you really do need to understand it's not just YOLO, but also you only die once. Before you die at one time, every single day of my life needs to be meaningful. So if you talk about maybe 5-6 years ago, I probably won't do this interview. Because why am I going to waste my time doing this interview?
That's right.
Because it's no value to me.
Yes.
But today, in the last couple of years, when I transform my own life, I think it is very important when you can add value to others' life also. Because it starts with your own life. And if I can become a role model of changing and transform my own life physically, mentally, and now I'm trying to achieve peak performance, peak state of mind, which is my mind, my body, my spirit, my soul, must be so aligned for that peak performance to be achieved. It means to say that I cannot allow anything to drain my energy, where it's sucking positive energy out of me. Okay. I need whoever is in my life to be value adding to me also, so that I can
in support to your mission of aligning.
Correct.
You say,
because right? I'm battling a lot of things in my life where it's like unhealthy lifestyle, unhealthy people in my life. It drains me, and I try so hard to balance it out. So it's like every day I add value, then I got this negative that drains me. So it's like go back to zero.
Pulls you back.
So I don't want to be held back. I want to be able to do things the way I want, and to live the life that I meant to live, because I live every single day and I die once. I don't know when I'm going to die.
Yeah.
But before I die, I want to make sure that everything that I do, it has of deep purpose, meaning, and of contribution back to the society.
Right.
I believe that it will give me a much more fulfilling life, and that's why I am living the kind of life that I'm doing. So I think that will be the turning point. My mom's passing.
All right.
And
thanks for sharing such a personal story. I really appreciate that. And a difficult question, maybe like talking about your mom and all that. So can I ask, like, with your character, how do you cope with this? I mean, like, how do you cope with this turning point, which is, such a devastating state?
I'm a very passionate person. So in other words, that when I do something, I'm all in or out.
Yeah.
I believe I was able to save my mom. You see,
Okay.
I took massive actions.
Yeah.
Trying to save my mom.
Okay.
And because I love human, I know I love my mom, and I failed.
Yeah.
So
how do you recover from this? How do you
life goes on. You still need to live, man.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I told my mom at her funeral, at the casket, I said, I will take care of that to the best of my ability. And that's what I do.
Yeah.
Till today, I'm still trying very hard to do that. How do you cope? I think you live life and you let life guide you through. So sometimes you just have to accept that shit happens.
Yeah.
You just live and you go on with it. I think that's how we deal with life.
Yeah.
Cope. I think you don't let things in life hold us back. You still have to move on.
Yeah.
You don't let this kind of experiences to be reasons for it to become an excuse. I have this fundamental principles. I think you can read about where I believe in not complaining. I believe in not blaming. I believe in not giving excuses for shit that happens in life. You have to embrace it. Whatever happens in life, you just have to embrace it, welcome it, move forward with it. It's not going to always be a happy-go-lucky or happy ending kind of a situation.
Yeah.
I never thought that my life would be what it is today if I were to plan as a positive person.
Yeah.
But shit does happen. You just have to look at it that before the rainbow every single time, the thunderstorm is there. And expecting the thunderstorm to pass, that tomorrow will be more beautiful. And has it been more beautiful? Yes. Has it been worse after that? Yes. Has it become better after that? Yes, also. So what goes up comes down. What comes down will go up.
Yeah.
You just embrace whatever life fits you.
Okay.
But you must believe that things will be better. So that's how I cope with it.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for sharing such a personal story. Okay. Now, moving on to the more business side. So, what is your philosophy behind Topman College?
Very fundamentally, our core purpose is beyond education. Why do we call it beyond education? Beyond education with the mission of making a difference by making lives better. That is the whole entire idea, the gist of why Topman exists. Topman exists not just to provide your traditional education in a classroom, to give them the knowledge and the skills. It is beyond that, to give them the knowledge, the skills, the attitude, and the habitual behavior of how you can live a life that is of value, to add to yourself, that you can then contribute and add value back to the society. So how can you make a difference, significant difference in your life, that can then also make a significant difference in the lives of the people around you, from your family to the people that you encounter, literally life transformation. So we're in the business of life transformation. And for me to be able to preach that, I need to be able to lead that kind of life, and that embark on the whole entire physical life transformation. I look younger, better, healthier.
Definitely.
Just within a 2-year period, I did it all on my own. I lost 62 kilos on my own, And
wow.
I lost more than a human being,
62 kilos.
Yeah, on my own. And of course now I lost more, which the review day is tomorrow. So I lost up to 68 kilos.
62. Now I weigh 62 in the morning.
So I lost more than
you lost me.
So
the whole person.
I lost more than you, by the way, now.
Oh, okay.
I lost 62 is on my own. Now I lost up to 68 already.
Wow.
If I lose 2 more kilos, I'm exactly half of when I first started the journey, which is the first target on what I'm trying to do.
That happens in 2 years' time.
Yeah, in 2 years' time. My whole entire physical body life. Not sure if you've seen that picture before. Later, Ivy can probably share with you. When I first started, the size, and then the size that I became. So I'm still on that journey. My optimum weight is to hit 66 kilo by September this year, and I'm still pushing that. So I work out 7 days a week. And this past entire month, I've been working like 2 times a day, morning and night. That's the kind of strengths I have, my belief, my action, and I just do it. I just don't know how to stop.
Amazing. Amazing.
So I'm not your regular human.
That's why you have extraordinary success. What are some of your future plans for your business and your life also?
From a business perspective, it's really listing the group of education businesses that we have over here.
Right.
We've been blessed to be able to attract some very good people. So I've been able to do what I've done in the last couple of years here in the education training. I've attracted, say, the 14 richest men of Malaysia, the founder of Top Growth, Dr. Lim Chai, who likes what we are doing. So he's today one of our shareholders and also our chairman. So I believe that route is, from a business perspective, is to grow ourselves to become Asia's #1 business school, as well as Asia's largest education and training group. So that's our business direction of what I'm going to be, I would say, I won't use the word retiring, but what I plan to be doing for the rest of my life, which is to make a difference by making life better through education and training. Because I feel that's where Chinese say the contribution. I believe that's where my calling, personal calling is.
Okay.
I'm a filmmaker, F&B restaurateur. I'm a lot of things, But I think among all the things that I've done in my life, this is where I really want to be focusing and doing. And that's where the business will be growing. From a personal life perspective, is to achieve peak state of mind, body, soul, spirit, and soul, where you can really live a life where you are literally very healthy and happy. If you are not held back by anyone and anything. A lot of people are very sad, miserable, and yet they continue living that life. And that's why they complain, they blame, they give excuses. You see, I live a life of no complaint, no blame, no excuses. It means that you must do something about it. And when people don't do something about it, they're miserable. I see a lot of miserable families, couples, individuals, and yet they don't do anything about it. They don't go through this turning point. They don't do something about it.
But when you say do something about it, do you mean like to confront or to like look at the problem and try to work it out? Or?
Sometimes not all problems are meant to be worked out. Sometimes walking away from something is also working out.
Oh, right.
You don't need to resolve all problems. And that's when I thought that if I was able to save my mom, I was resolving an issue. It's not up to me. It's up to the man upstairs. So sometimes I am not God, I need to accept that. I don't have the solutions to all problems. It's okay not to be okay. I have always thought that I need to be okay for everyone else. I need to be as close to perfection to be the pillar, to live up to the expectation of what people expect of me. Because why? The more successful I became, the more amazing, awesome, and inspiring I became to people, the more they expected Ernie Chen to be this, like, what they need to look up to. But what they don't realize is that, how tough and how suffering it is for me to having to live up constantly to what people expect of me. So I came to a conclusion, I want to achieve my peak state of mind, body, spirit, and soul, where it is about me, not about me living for you.
Right.
So it was very, very suffocating. I was not able to live. I think that got me into a lot of the health issues. So my personal life, as far as my personal direction, is about living a healthy and happy life, because I cannot get back what I lost. All right, but I can gain and earn more years ahead of me if I'm healthy and happy. I want to be a much more sustainable in a healthy, and the wealth will follow. When I talk about wealth, I'm not talking about financial wealth only. I'm talking about relationship wealth that is able to build with humans, which then fulfill my third greatest strength, which is I just want to enjoy living more for me and not for everyone else. So a lot of people come to life, they want to be contributing, they want to make a difference by making lives better. Yes, I want to do that. And our life, some gurus, they all talk about your life is about contributing. And no, it's absolutely wrong. We come into the world, we must first make a difference in our own lives first. If we are not healthy and happy, we are not sustainable to do greater things for a bigger picture of things. So we don't exist to serve. We exist to first and foremost take care of ourselves first, our well-being. If you're not able to take care of our well-being, you can talk all you want about creating sustainability for other people. It's all bullshit to me. So I need to be happy. I need to be healthy.
You need to take care of your well-being first
before I can take care of everyone else.
Like in the airplane, if there's an emergency, the oxygen mask drop down, you put it on yourself first before you put it on other people else.
So sometimes reading all these self-help books, because I'm a motivational speaker, you learn from all these other people who say you come to the world to contribute and to serve, and also bullshit nonsense. I learned the hard way of from all these people of telling myself that I exist to serve others. No, I exist to serve me first. I exist to take care of me first, because if I'm not taken care of, I can't take care of other people. That's the fact and reality of life,
So definitely.
I beg to differ, and I'm a contrarian to what all this bullshit nonsense that all these people are talking about. I believe I can take care of more people if I'm able to take care of myself first.
That is true. Okay, the last two questions is, I mean, like, since you have achieved so much, and from your young age until now, is there anything you would have done differently knowing what you know now?
Yeah, I would have definitely learned to enjoy my life a little bit more. Finding things that fit me better, instead of believing that by working hard and smarter on something, things will work. Because most people tell you, if you work hard and find better ways, smarter at working on something, things will work. To me, it's not true. If you really want to make something really work well, you have to really work hard, work smarter at it, and most importantly, it must be the right fit to who you are supposed to be. Suitability is key. If you are not suitable for whatever you're doing or for whoever you're with, I can guarantee you, based on my last 46 years of my life, it doesn't work. So that flow of suitability, coupled with working hard and smarter on it, will give you that flow of success that is very natural. So capability alone is no longer enough. You have to find the suitability, and that means the right things to do that is suitable for you, the right people that you need to do life with, the right people that you need to have around you to give you that peak state of health and happiness that will not hold you back, but that will allow you to go there. It took me 46 years to have this enlightenment to understand, and I'm very blessed to be able to understand that. My mom's passing was the first round. My own personal near-death experience was second, and my dad in and out hospital 2-3 times, almost passing, safe back, and me visiting him at the nursing home, taking him to the hospital every 2 weeks for his amputations, and knowing that he's going to leave me soon. I think you you start to see life in a very usually when it comes to life death situations where you have close ones that can leave you, or you yourself can leave the world, you see life very differently. You want to not waste the rest of your life doing things that doesn't please you.
Right. Coincidentally, I also came to this conclusion maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Sure.
Around my 40s,
Sure.
there's no such thing as the best. There's always the key, like you say, is suitability. Whether it's your career or relationship or whatever.
I mean, most people is they still expect Ernie Chen to be in a certain way. I'm done with really expecting. I just do what I want to do.
I can understand.
I just, you're just tired of it.
Yeah. I can understand that. Totally.
I think that's why I think that this term called midlife crisis. I think it's not a midlife crisis. It's a midlife awakening.
Yeah, it's sort of like a point that you gather the experience, and then you reflect upon it, and then it becomes sort of like wisdom to you.
Yeah.
But I mean, like maybe at the 20 something, you would not have think of things like this. That's my experience.
Because you are basing your success on the success like people like Warren Buffett, Mark Zuckerberg. How can I become richer, faster, quicker, and then the whole world will look at you as the idol too? That's what we see.
Yeah.
So that's what we aspire to be.
Yeah.
You see, at that age, So I think Jack Ma says it best, At 20-something years old, you go and work for a successful boss. I work for very big successful bosses, and that's how I learned. When you're 30-something, so you come and explore, become an entrepreneur, and that's what I did. Went and did a lot of businesses, failed a lot, learn a lot. In your 40s, you start to focus on what really means something to you. And in your 50s, by right, you're supposed to be grooming the young ones to take over.
Yeah.
And that's what I plan to be doing. And in your 60s, you're supposed to be at the beach, lie down, chill, and enjoy life.
He say he doesn't want to die in the office. He wants to die in the beach.
So, which is what I intend to do. I think it's a perfect advice because he said another thing. He would never be richer than Bill Gates or Warren Buffett. He will never be richer than them, and he's not interested.
Yeah.
Because why? But he's definitely better than both of them in one thing. He would definitely die. He would definitely retire earlier than them. He would definitely die younger by the beach compared to them. So I think when you have reached a certain wealth level, and it doesn't mean a difference between if I eat a 30-cent nasi lemak, which is my favorite food I've not had in a long time, and a 50 ringgit nasi lemak in Shangri-La. To me, it's not about the price. It is about the people I eat with. And the flavor of that nasi lemak tastes a lot more tasty when there are people who love you.
I'm sure you would love to have the 30-cent nasi lemak.
Because when I was working out there, I didn't have a single cent. I got cheated with my last bit of money when I was 17 years old. 17 years old working it. And I ate 30-cent nasi lemak and it was so tasty. And this past week, I've been eating 2 hard-boiled eggs for dinner because my diet. It was the best hard-boiled egg with nothing. It tastes so good. Because why? When you're so hungry, that thing is more beautiful.
That's right.
It tastes a lot better. So it's not the environment or yes, I can afford that or I can go there anytime. I have that choice. But that choice doesn't make it more tasty or more
or even make you happier.
Yeah. It's the people that I eat with or the things I'm going through or how hungry I am for that makes that taste more tasty. So I think it's not midlife. Midlife crisis is more midlife awakening for this enlightenment of becoming wiser to what life is about. Do I still want to become a billionaire? Yes. Do I want to work towards that? Last time was very different. Last time I was working 7 days a week to become a billionaire. It's like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to make sure you die, all competitors die. Now it's more like, that's my target. I work towards that target in a healthy, happy way. Means to say,
enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the journey and make sure you don't kill people. You don't destroy people. It's not healthy to kill people. It's not healthy to make sure all your competitors die. I think from compete, it's not competing with people, but compete myself. It's more collaborate and make more beautiful things happen. It'd be more fun and more one more friend better than one more enemy.
That's right. More meaningful,
better, deeper relationships, and have more kindness and respect for everything that we do, and I think it's better that way.
Okay.
It suits me better.
Right. So one last question. Okay. Can you? I mean, like, is there any message for young people that they must know, according to your awakening now, to do well in life?
Last time, I always believe telling my young people, these are things that I do, these are things I do, these are good things that you can learn from, don't do the bad things and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter what advice I give. Actually, I tell people don't listen to my advices. I just tell you, live your life, screw up, and you will learn better lessons. We are all built differently. We all have different desires and wants at different times of our lives. It doesn't matter what I do, whatever I tell you, you won't listen because you're young. And I was young before. I would not listen to any good advices at all.
Yeah, like for example, don't eat like that. It's not healthy. Come on, when you are like 80, who give a damn?
Come on.
I was like that.
Yeah. So I never listened.
Yeah.
All the older people kept on advising me this, do that. I don't care. And that's why it got me into that mess. But I got out of the mess because of that turning points of very intense situations that I'm blessed to have woken up. Some people never ever wake up. Some people woke up a little bit too late. That's why my only advice to young people is do what you think you are able to withstand, to hopefully wake up sooner, and do wake up. Because your biggest problem is you wake up too late and you realize that you didn't have time to wake up back, or you never ever wake up. But I will never tell you to not go through what you think you should be doing, because that will be an advice that I'll be doing you injustice. Before you even live life, I tell you to stop your life.
Yeah.
So I never regretted the way I live my life. I'm very blessed and grateful that I did wake up soon enough, and I did wake up. Because the biggest danger that most young people will go through is you don't wake up soon enough, or you never ever wake up.
Yeah.
So that would be my only advice. But don't stop what you're doing. Continue to screw up. Continue to live by what you want, and do lah. You're not gonna listen to me anyway, so don't listen.
Yeah, I mean, like, very true advice. Very true advice, really. Yeah. Okay. That concludes our interview.
Sure.
And that once again, thank you so much for your time. You have been very generous person to meet up with me and undertaking this project.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
It's always a blessing to be able to